Update. Something is wrong with the oven, not the first time, with the gasifier or whatever you want to call it. It's 100 degrees, so it's over. Welcome back to today's video. It's raining and me and SCARVES are sitting under the roof, and it's been a year since we've moved to the countryside, so it's the perfect time to do a summary and conclusion of the positive things that have surprised us in the countryside and the negative things, all the negative things that we've experienced, and give you a honest update about what is the conclusion after 1 year of living in the countryside. So let's start with the negative things and all the disadvantages of living in the countryside. Many are probably something that a lot of people can imagine. I will try to be precise and quick and summarize, because there's a lot. So, first of all, there's a lot of work in the countryside. In summer, there's a lot of work if you have a garden or animals. We don't have animals yet, but we still had lots of work around the garden, watering the garden. There are projects, stacking the wood, moving the wood, stacking the wood. There are other projects going on, always things that need to be, that you have to repair or improve or change. And a lot of work if you have your garden to preserve and make dishes out of what you have, and if you have animals, which we will probably soon, that's another story altogether. And in winter you have so much work with keeping the house warm and turning on the gasifier stove and removing the snow. And then you have spring, and it all starts from the beginning. You have to cut the grass and plow the grass and plant your garden, and maybe renovate something or paint something or build something small, and it goes on like this. Much more work. Second, the conditions. The weather, nature conditions. In spring, summer, there are so many ticks, and it's very difficult to manage the tick attack that we have. And it's not only our dog that is affected, SCARVES, but we have to be extremely careful. And I had Lyme disease, so it's something I'm extremely afraid of and cautious about. And then come winter, it's extremely cold. It's very difficult to keep our house warm. We had to spend like a few hours every day carrying in the wood in winter to the house and trying to warm up the house, and I felt miserable many times because it's been cold inside and I hate the cold. And it's been very, very difficult, and the winter was very difficult in that regard. Update. Something is wrong with the oven, not the first time, with the gasifier or whatever you want to call it. It's 100 degrees, so it's over the allowed temperature. The numbers here are not correct and it's overheated. I know that for sure, but I don't know how to fix it. My husband is not at home, so hopefully it won't explode until he gets back home. Told him we tried, but it's not working. The solutions he provided over the phone. You see, I was just talking about repairs, stress. Third thing is that we have to be economical about the water and how much we use, how much goes to the sewage tank, and you know, any repairs, anything, it's on us. Any big expenses, anything that happens, it's on us. Same, we have to buy the wood for the whole year, like 20 cubic meters or something to last for the whole year, and so on. Fourth, we live very isolated, so I do miss my family, most of which they live in Warsaw, and it's different in summer. Some of you might know that my parents have a summer house in the area, so we will see each other much more often, but I haven't spent as much time with my family as I would like to. I don't have any friends here. We have made an acquaintance, maybe one or two, but just acquaintance, and I'm an introvert and I've had problems making friends all my life, so living in the countryside, it's become even more obvious, it's become even more apparent, and those few friends that I have, I see maybe once or twice a year. So there was a time a few months ago when my husband was away and I was here completely by myself, and it affected my mental state very badly. Fifth disadvantage or negative thing is that ideally you have remote work, you work for yourself, you work completely remotely. My husband has to go to Warsaw a few times a week, and it's extremely tiring and disadvantage, and has a negative impact on him. And since last autumn I've worked as a freelancer from home, but it's been also very difficult because some months I've had more work, some months I've had much less work, and it's stressing, of course, when you don't have a stable income and you have the whole house that you have to take care of. So I'm not sure much longer I will be a freelancer, or if I will be forced to go back to a corporation and work in a hybrid mode, because that's what most companies can accept, that you work in a hybrid mode. But that would mean traveling, and the two of us traveling a few times to Warsaw. So it's not something I'm looking forward to, and I'm not sure, but time will tell. Also, I don't earn anything on YouTube at this moment. I only earn if any one of my subscribers support the channel, and this spring it has gone very badly, so it could be a side income, but at the moment for me it's not, which has also been upsetting, and it's also up in the air if I will continue or not. And when it comes to traveling to Warsaw, there's also this whole thing of car has to work, because if it doesn't work you would be destined to go by bike 5 kilometers to the train station, and that's not something anyone wants to do, like at 6:30 a.m. in the morning, if it's raining, especially if it's raining and cold. But even if it's very, very warm and nice, it's a long bike ride. And there were a few instances that the car wasn't working because of the weather, it's cold, or because it's old or something, and or it could be that the car breaks down, you know, doesn't have to be anything with the weather, and it could be a problem. Then you have to call in to work, say that you will work from home, they have to accept it, and so on. You have to have understanding bosses at your work. When it's raining, when it's very cold, when it's it gets tough sometimes in the countryside, sometimes very tough. And one last thing, probably point number 6, I believe, is that everything is a distance from us, so we have to drive by the car or by bike to go shopping. If I want to have a good dental care, like with the braces, I have to go to Warsaw. All my doctors and specialists that I used to go that were good are in Warsaw. There are a few things here, like the supermarket, of course, post office, and church, and you know, hairdresser, and a few other things that you might want and need. But like specialized things, you have to go to Warsaw. There's, you know, you could walk, it's within walking distance, but it would take a long time. But if you go by foot. And luckily, there is a dentist that you can do like normal dental care, which I have used here. So that's good. But as I've said, any specialized things, you probably have to go to Warsaw or to a big town somewhere, which would also be a longer or shorter driving distance from here. And the positive things, that's the first thing that comes to mind, is peace, quiet, solitude, and nature and wildlife. But it's especially lovely in summer. I will say that in winter you don't see it, and all the negative things, but it's especially in summer. It's so lovely to sit here outside and eat and go for all these walks. It's bliss, and it's more quiet than in Warsaw. I'm not woken up in the evenings and during the night as I was in Warsaw, which is important for me as I don't have a very good strong sleep, and I struggle with sleeping, and have to like be mindful about sleeping and the supplements I take and so on. Second, Safroś is very happy here. He can be outside, and even if we wouldn't have time to go on a walk, he can run here outside by himself. He has a structure, and it's also a relief for us not having to go out with him several times a day for his walk, for him to go and pee. Third is all the ecological things we can eat if we grow ourselves, or if you have your own animals, which we will have in the future. Fourth is just the fact that you're independent and that you don't have to rely on like the government and so on, even though they have been putting their noses into our affairs lately. And of course you're much more dependent on the government if you live in an apartment. So we have more freedom here to do as we please. But unfortunately, the way the world is going, they want to control that too, to some extent. And life is just a bit slower here. Hug. Safroś hug. So to conclude, after a year I see a lot of disadvantages and negative things about living in the countryside, probably more than before we moved here. And I don't feel at home here yet. No, I don't feel that it's mine here completely. I miss the area that I lived in, where you could see many of my previous videos from Warsaw. We lived in such a beautiful area near the river, and it became so noisy and crowded in the last year. But still, I miss it sometimes. And we did have some wildlife there too. We had wild boars, which I have never seen here. But we have other animals here, deer and different birds and so on. But at this moment, after a long and hard winter, I see more negatives. Does it mean that I would not move if I had the choice again? No. I know what kind of times we live in, and I believe this is a place for us to be. This was meant from up. This was God's will. I truly believe that, and I know come summer, come warmer weather and summer, and I will see all the pluses again. It's much easier and lovely to live in the countryside in warm months than in cold. I have to be completely honest and say that. This year we've learned a lot, and anything could change in the next year. We could have animals, one of us could change a job or have to go back to corporation. There are many moving parts and many things that could change anytime. So, and that would, you know, change our routine again. But I'm grateful for this year here in the countryside. If you don't, I think we were brave to do it. I feel brave because I've lived all my life in big cities. I've lived in Stockholm, in London, in Warsaw. So I feel proud of myself, and that I've managed and that I'm making it work. And we will see what the future holds. And do let me know what are your thoughts if you're living in the countryside, or your thoughts about any of this, what I've talked about, or if you wish to move from the city. I hope it gave you a perspective of how it can be, an honest perspective. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.